There are words, just a few, that can shatter a man's walls, awaken something ancient in his soul, and make him feel more than just desired. They're not the words you think. But when you say them in the right moment, he doesn't just hear them. He feels chosen. He feels alive. And he never forgets. What a man craves in intimacy isn't always physical. It's primal, emotional, and spiritual. The right words, whispered in the right moment, can ignite a deeper connection. In this video, we reveal 5 powerful things he secretly hopes you'll say during sex, not for his ego, but for his heart. This is about speaking to the man within the man. When a woman says, "I want you," and truly means it, not out of habit, not out of politeness, not as a scripted line, but from the fire in her chest and the ache in her soul, it changes everything for a man. Those words aren't just verbal foreplay, they are emotional revelation. They hit him in a place deeper than desire, where he stores his doubts, where his ego meets his fear, where he secretly wonders if he's truly enough. You see, most men go through life performing at work, performing socially, and yes, even in the bedroom. They're taught that their worth is in how well they provide, how much they achieve, how confidently they move through life. But rarely, so rarely, are they told, simply and vulnerably, "I want you." Not because of what they can give, not because of what they do, but because of who they are. That statement strips away every layer of masculine armor, every pretense of bravado, and reaches the boy underneath, who once asked himself in silence, would anyone choose me if they saw all of me? When you look into his eyes and whisper that you want him, you're not just validating his body, you're embracing his presence. You're not admiring an act, you're responding to a man. And in that moment, everything shifts. His breathing changes, his hands relax, his gaze deepens, because now it's not about conquest, it's about communion. It's not about taking, it's about sharing. And he starts to move differently. He stops worrying about whether he's doing it right. He stops scanning your face for signs of satisfaction, because now he knows it's not just that you're allowing him close, it's that you're drawn to him. You didn't fall into this moment. You wanted it. You wanted him. And those words don't just live in the air. They sink into his psyche. They become the soundtrack of the memory. He could forget the room, the lighting, the music, the rhythm, but he will not forget the sound of you saying that you want him. That's the phrase that replays in his mind when he's driving alone. That's what echoes when he thinks about the night you let your guard down and reached for him, not out of need, but out of desire. That's the emotional fingerprint you leave on his masculinity. And the truth is, many men don't even realize how badly they need to hear those words until they finally do. Because most of the time, sex for them is about pursuit, about proving something, about earning their place. But when you take that pressure off, when you meet him in the middle and say, "I want this too, I want you," he doesn't just feel chosen. He feels free. Free to give without worrying, free to feel without filtering, free to be all of himself, not just the version he thinks you're expecting. It's easy to assume men don't need this kind of emotional validation in intimate moments, that they're visual, physical, uncomplicated. But that's not just a lie, it's a deeply damaging one. Because under that masculine exterior is someone who wants to feel irreplaceable, not just as a lover, but as a man. He wants to feel like your desire for him is specific, not generic, personal, not transactional. When you say, "I want you," you give him that gift. You break the cycle of performance and invite presence. You replace pressure with passion. And in doing so, you awaken a depth in him that few women ever get to see, because few ever speak directly to it. And here's something else. When those words are spoken with full conviction, They carry power beyond the bedroom. They bleed into how he sees himself. A man who feels wanted walks differently. He speaks with more intention. He touches with more tenderness. He looks at you not just with lust, but with reverence, because he remembers that in a world full of noise, you saw him. You didn't just want sex. You wanted him, his scent, his sound, his skin, his soul. That feeling can't be manufactured or faked. It's raw and rare and real. Sometimes we forget that in intimate moments, words are not just expressions, they're incantations. They shape the atmosphere. They unlock things. They create safety. And when you say, I want you, you don't just unlock him, you unburden him. He no longer has to wonder if he's reaching you. He no longer has to chase what's already being offered. He's no longer in a role, he's in a relationship, a dance, a sacred exchange. And that one sentence, spoken in heat or in softness, carries more weight than 1,000 rehearsed compliments, because it means that no one else in the world could take his place in that moment. That you're not there by accident, you're there by choice. And you're choosing him again and again with every breath, every glance, every syllable. So if there's one thing you say during sex that lingers long after the moment has passed, let it be this. Not, you're good, not, that feels nice, but I want you. Because when you say that, you don't just give him permission. You give him purpose. You give him a place to land, a reason to let go, a reason to be more than a man. You give him a reason to be your man. And once he hears that, really hears it, he'll never be the same again. When a woman says, you feel so good, something profound happens in a man's internal world. At first glance, those words may seem simple, even ordinary, but they carry a powerful weight far deeper than physical praise. To the masculine psyche, that phrase doesn't just affirm sensation, it affirms presence. It tells him that in this moment, he is not just being tolerated or going through motions. He is being experienced, savored, and fully received. And that is everything to a man. Because while most people assume that men enter intimacy with unwavering confidence, the truth is many walk in carrying 1,000 invisible questions. Am I doing this right? Am I too much? Too little? Does she feel what I feel? And these questions don't always find words, but they live in his breath, in the tension of his body, in the restraint he holds back until he knows he's safe to let go. When you say you feel so good, you silence all those questions. You become the mirror he didn't even realize he needed. And you don't just reflect pleasure, you reflect connection. You let him know that what he's offering is being felt not just on your skin, but in your soul. And that realization grounds him. It shifts him from wondering if he's performing well to knowing he's reaching you deeply. This is not about stroking his ego. It's about stroking his certainty. It's about anchoring him in the reality that you're here, you're with him, and this is real. Those words do something else too. They awaken pride. Not arrogance, but a sacred pride, the kind that comes from feeling like his presence has value. When a man knows that his body, his touch, his weight, his warmth is bringing you comfort and pleasure, he doesn't just feel sexy, he feels trusted. That's the emotional undercurrent people rarely speak of. A man who is told he feels good starts to feel safe. Safe to express more, to hold more space, to become more open. And that safety doesn't just lead to better physical intimacy, it leads to a deeper, more honest emotional intimacy as well. Men are often taught not to rely on feedback. They're expected to be intuitive, dominant, capable, but many are silently navigating intimacy with a deep fear of getting it wrong, because for them, touch is not just about action, it's about response. They are watching your breathing, your expressions, your energy, trying to decode whether what they're giving is landing in the way it's intended. So when you take away the guesswork and simply say, you feel so good, you gift him clarity. He no longer needs to interpret, he hears truth. And in that truth, he finds permission, not just to continue, but to deepen. And there's a secret power in how you say it too. If your tone is breathy, full of surprise, or dripping with delight, it becomes an invitation for him to lean in, to explore, to surrender into the moment with more vulnerability than he might have dared before. Because now he's not wondering if you're somewhere else in your head, if you're comparing this moment to another, or if you're just enduring it out of habit. Now he knows you're here, you're in it, and he matters. In fact, one of the most overlooked truths about men is this: while they may fantasize about being wanted, what they crave even more is to be felt. They want to feel that their presence doesn't just take up space, it enhances the space. That their touch doesn't just trigger reflexes, it evokes meaning. When you affirm that, when you look into his eyes, wrap your arms around him, press your body against his, and let out those 5 potent words, you awaken a masculine essence that no technique or trick can access. You show him that his body is not just functional, it's beautiful to you. That he's not just giving, you're receiving, and what he's giving is enough. That phrase becomes even more powerful when you use it in different ways. Whisper it as your hands move across his skin. Murmur it as your body reacts to his rhythm. Let it slip out in that one moment when you just can't help but say something. That's when it's most honest. That's when it becomes more than words. It becomes validation. And validation, when spoken from a place of truth and surrender, is unforgettable. He won't just remember how you touched him, he'll remember how you responded to being touched by him. And that memory of being not just accepted but celebrated will live in him long after the night ends. And here's something even deeper. When a man hears "you feel so good," what he also hears underneath it is "I enjoy you." That's a rare message for many men. In a world that often defines male value by what they provide, what they protect, or how they perform, to be told that he, just as he is enjoyed, that's rare gold. That's the kind of message that heals something inside of him. And it changes how he sees you too. You become the woman who gave him not just pleasure, but peace. Not just arousal, but affirmation. You become the woman who saw him and felt him. And so if you ever wonder whether your words matter during sex, let there be no doubt they do. Especially this one, because "you feel so good" is not just praise, it's a soft, sacred truth that cuts through insecurity, anxiety, and ego. It tells him he's in the right place, with the right person, doing the right thing. And in a world that rarely tells men they're doing anything right, that's not just erotic, that's revolutionary. But when a woman says "don't stop" in the heat of intimacy, she's not just giving feedback, she's giving power. Those 2 simple words carry the force of affirmation, encouragement, vulnerability, and emotional connection all at once. To the male psyche, they are more than just an instruction. They're a signal that something he's doing is right. And not just technically right, but soulfully right. In that instant, the man hears more than sound. He hears certainty. Certainty that his presence is not only accepted, but craved. That he's not just touching her body, but reaching something deeper. Her trust, her desire, her raw, unfiltered self. And that moment for a man is gold. Because most men are constantly, silently guessing if they're enough, guessing if they're pleasing, guessing if the rhythm, the intensity, the emotion they're bringing is connecting with her or just floating in space. So when she breaks through that silence with "don't stop," it lands like an emotional explosion. It tells him he's in alignment not just with her body but with her heart. It says right there, right now, "I'm with you, I feel you, keep going, because I don't want to be anywhere else." That is a kind of permission and affirmation men rarely receive. Because often men approach intimacy with pressure to lead, to perform, to make it unforgettable. But when she says those 2 words, all that pressure dissolves. Now, he's not performing, he's connecting. He's no longer wondering if he's enough, he knows he is. And that shift from uncertainty to groundedness, unleashes a different kind of masculine energy. It's not mechanical, it's not goal-driven. It's devoted. It becomes about giving fully, without restraint. And what makes Don't Stop so potent isn't just its reassurance, it's the vulnerability behind it. It means she's surrendered enough to admit that she's feeling something she doesn't want to lose, that she's allowed herself to be overtaken by sensation, by emotion, by closeness, and she doesn't want it to end. That kind of honesty in the bedroom is rare, and men feel it. They know when a woman is saying something because she's truly in the moment, versus saying something because it's expected, when it's real, when it whispered it with trembling breath or moaned with abandon. Those words become sacred. He doesn't just hear her voice, he hears her soul. For many men, hearing Don't Stop is the moment they finally exhale. It's when they know they can trust the connection, trust their instincts, and relax into the moment without overthinking. Because let's be honest, most men are overthinking during sex far more than they let on. They're worried about timing, pressure, performance, being enough. They're reading every shift in your breath, every movement of your hands, every change in your expression like it's a puzzle to solve. So when you cut through that fog with direct, powerful affirmation like Don't Stop, you create clarity. You clear the emotional static. You say, this is it, stay here. And that anchors him more than you realize. It also does something else, something most women don't think about. It guides him gently, lovingly, without criticism. It gives him feedback in a way that doesn't feel like correction, but feels like connection. You're not saying, do this, not that. You're saying, whatever you're doing right now, don't question it. Don't pull away from it. I'm with you. That's an incredible gift to give someone, especially a man who wants to please you, not just physically, but emotionally. A man who wants to make you feel adored, desired, worshipped even. When he hears Don't Stop, he doesn't just keep going. He goes deeper, deeper into you, deeper into presence, deeper into a rhythm where both of you disappear into something larger than yourselves. And for the man who truly cares, not just about the act, but about you, those words become more than a sensual cue. They become a confirmation that the intimacy you're creating together is mutual, that it's not one-sided, that it's not him giving and you receiving, but both of you meeting in the middle of that fire. That's rare, and men know how rare it is, which is why when you say Don't Stop from a place of authentic surrender and pleasure, it etches itself into his memory. He doesn't forget the way your voice sounded, the way your body moved, the look in your eyes. He stores that moment because it reminds him of something sacred. He has the power not just to satisfy you, but to move you. And let's not ignore the psychological undertone here. For men, the deepest craving isn't just to be wanted, it's to be irreplaceable. Don't Stop touches that nerve. It says, what you're giving me right now, no one else could give it to me like this. That sentence tells him he's not generic. He's not just another man. He is the one causing this reaction in you. He is the one who unlocked this moment. And that sense of unique impact, of irreplaceable presence, is what men silently long for, far more than applause or praise. It's why he'll replay that moment in his mind when he's away from you. It's why he'll touch you with more reverence the next time, because now he knows he mattered. So don't underestimate the power of those two words. Speak them when you feel them, not to perform, but to affirm. Speak them when the moment is too good to lose, when your body is lit up and your heart is open. Say them like you mean them, and he will not only hear your voice, he will hear truth, the kind of truth that silences doubt and turns intimacy into something unforgettable. Don't Stop isn't about stamina, it's about significance. It's your way of saying, this moment is enough, you are enough. Stay here with me. And in a world full of uncertainty, that is a sentence a man never forgets. When a woman looks into a man's eyes, breathless, vulnerable, and says, I've never felt this before, she does more than just flatter him. She marks the moment as unforgettable. Those 6 words carry a weight that no moan, no gesture, no performance can equal. Because she's not just commenting on a physical sensation, she's revealing something far more sacred, that what is happening between them is new, rare, that she has been touched before, yes, perhaps even loved before, but this is something different. And to a man, those words are like lightning. They strike deep into his emotional core, igniting not just desire, but meaning. Because every man, no matter how tough, how distant, how seasoned, carries a silent longing to be the one who changes everything, to be remembered, to leave a mark, to be the exception. When you say, "I've never felt this before," you awaken that longing in the most powerful way. You're not just affirming the present moment. You're rewriting his place in your story. You're telling him that this isn't just another chapter, it's a turning point. And men don't hear that often. In fact, many walk through intimacy afraid that what they're giving is easily replaceable, forgettable, transactional. Even in passion, many wonder, am I just one of many, or am I leaving something behind in her that no one else has? Those words, when spoken sincerely, answer that fear. They say, no, you're not just another. You are this. You are now. But what makes this sentence even more powerful is what's underneath it. It's not just novelty you're expressing, it's transformation. You're saying, in effect, you've reached a part of me that I didn't even know was reachable. You've awakened something in me that I thought was buried or maybe didn't exist at all. And that admission is not weakness, it's courage. Because to admit that you've never felt something before means you are fully present, letting go of comparisons, opening yourself to a unique experience right here, right now. And a man, when he sees that level of openness, responds in kind. He becomes more careful, more aware, more intentional. He starts to see the moment not just as desire fulfilled, but as meaning shared. He starts to feel not just wanted, but important. And that shift changes everything. I've never felt this before. It doesn't necessarily mean the sex is the best you've ever had. It means that the connection is. And that distinction matters. Because in a world obsessed with performance and technique, that kind of raw emotional declaration cuts through the noise. It speaks to something deeper than physical chemistry. It speaks to spiritual resonance, it says. There's something about the way you touch me, the way you breathe with me, the way you're present with me that is different from anything I've known before. And men, though they may not always have the language for it, feel that. They know when something is real. They know when a woman is not just reacting, but revealing. And when you reveal something that you yourself are just discovering in the moment, that's not just intimacy, that's sacred ground. It also tells him that he's not just doing something to you, he's doing something with you. That this isn't about domination or surrender, but discovery. And when a man feels that he's not just being received, but that he's helping you unlock something new within yourself, his role transforms. He's no longer just a participant, he's a witness. He gets to witness your emergence, your awakening, your vulnerability. And for a man with depth, with emotional presence, with maturity, that is one of the greatest honors he can experience. To be the catalyst for someone else's truth. To be the man a woman remembers not because of his moves, but because of what she became in his presence. There's also something deeply healing in that moment. Many men carry shame about past failures, rejections, inadequacies, emotional wounds they never speak about. But when a woman honestly, softly, without expectation, says, I've never felt this before, it washes over those wounds. It tells him that he is not broken, that he is not a disappointment, that he is not less than. Because right now, in this very moment, he is the one creating something unforgettable. He is the one reaching a heart that maybe no one else fully reached. And that sense of mattering, not for what he has or what he does, but for what he brings out in you, is rare and priceless. But sincerity is everything here. These words lose all their power if they're spoken from a place of flattery or habit. They must come from truth. From that exact moment when your body, your heart, and your spirit all align in a feeling you didn't expect, and you can't help but speak it, that's when the phrase lands like thunder. That's when his eyes widen and his chest expands and his grip around you tightens, not in lust, but in reverence. Because now it's not just about climax. It's about connection. He's no longer trying to impress you. He's trying to stay in this moment with you, to honor it, to explore it, to remember every second of it. And that memory becomes a lighthouse in his heart, something he returns to in quiet moments when life gets loud, a sentence that reminds him that once he made someone feel something brand new, and that maybe, just maybe, he's capable of love that creates, love that awakens, love that leaves an echo. So don't underestimate what those 6 words can do. When said from a place of genuine wonder, I've never felt this before, doesn't just describe the moment, it defines it. It writes it into both of your lives as something that mattered, that shook the ground, that opened a door to a deeper world. And for the man who hears them, he won't just want more sex, he'll want more moments like that. Moments where he's not just in your body, but in your heart. Where he's not just touching you, but reaching you. Because when you say, I've never felt this before, what he hears is, you've touched me in a way no one else has. And for a man truly seeking meaning, that is the kind of sentence he will carry for the rest of his life. When a woman says, I love when you, during intimacy, she's not just expressing pleasure, she's giving a man a treasure map to her heart. Those 4 words open a portal into deep affirmation, focused guidance, and the most intimate kind of emotional clarity. Because while men are often cast as natural leaders in the bedroom, the truth is far more complex. Many men move through intimacy without certainty, constantly reading the room, scanning her expressions, her breath, her tension, asking silently, is this working? Does she like this? Am I making her feel anything at all? They crave feedback, not because they're unsure of their masculinity, but because they care. They care about impact. They care about connection. They care about her. So when she gives that feedback, not as a critique, but as an offering of affection, I love when you, it doesn't just direct him, it lights him up. This phrase is powerful because it's so specific. General compliments like you're amazing or that felt good are lovely, but they don't anchor into memory. They don't tell him what truly moves you. But when you say, I love when you kiss my neck slowly, or I love when you whisper in my ear like that, you're handing him something irreplaceable, certainty. And certainty for a man who wants to love you well is more erotic than anything else. It means he doesn't have to guess. He knows that when he touches you in that exact way, when he moves with that rhythm, when he breathes into your skin at that angle, he's not just doing something, right? He's doing something intimate, something meaningful, something that only the 2 of you understand. And that's the difference between sex that's memorable and sex that's life-changing. Men don't just want to satisfy you, they want to unlock you. They want to feel like they're the ones who figured you out, not because you're a puzzle, but because they paid attention, stayed curious, and earned the privilege of knowing what awakens you. I love when you is your way of letting him know he's on the right path. It's your way of saying, keep doing this because this is where I melt. And that melts him too, not in weakness, but in awe. Because in that moment, he realizes he's not just taking the lead, he's being led. And being led by desire, by truth, by your pleasure, is one of the most sacred experiences a man can have. This kind of feedback also nourishes a man's emotional intelligence. It teaches him how you love to be loved. Not in some abstract way, but in real time, in real language. It helps him grow. It tells him that intimacy isn't a performance with a set routine. It's a dialogue, a dance, a living language that only the 2 of you are learning together. And when you say, I love when you, with joy, with breathlessness, with honesty, it becomes a moment of co-creation. You're not just receiving his love, you're shaping it. And that makes him feel something rare in this world, useful, needed, wanted not just as a body, but as a presence who has the power to move you. But there's another layer too, a psychological one that goes even deeper. Most men carry a quiet fear that they'll be compared to past lovers, to fantasy, to the man in your mind he doesn't even know exists. That fear lives in the silence. When you're close but quiet. When you respond but don't affirm. When he gives but hears nothing in return. So when you speak up and say, I love when you quiet that storm. You tell him that this moment with him is yours, that he's not being measured, he's being met. And that, more than anything, tells him he is safe, not just to touch you, but to open to you. And don't underestimate how long he'll carry those words. Men remember specifics, not always flowers or holidays or small talk, but that one sentence you said in that one moment when you were wrapped around him, completely vulnerable, and you whispered, I love when you do that. That sentence gets stored in the vault. It becomes sacred. It becomes the thing he thinks about when he's away from you, when he wants to remind himself that he knows how to reach you, that he's needed in your world. And that knowing doesn't make him arrogant. It makes him more devoted, more careful, more passionate, because now he knows that what he brings to your body actually matters to your soul. And don't think it has to be about something grand or dramatic. It can be the smallest thing, the way he pulls you closer, the way he grabs your hair gently, the way he looks at you before he moves. What makes it powerful isn't the size of the action. It's the truth in your voice. When you say, I love when you, it becomes real. You're no longer in your head. You're with him. And that level of responsiveness creates a feedback loop of trust. The more he knows what you love, the more he'll give it. And the more he gives it, the more safe you feel to surrender. And that's how emotional and physical intimacy become inseparable. So the next time you feel something you like, don't hold it back. Say it. Let it spill from your lips like truth you can't contain. Let him know, because that moment you share, when your pleasure becomes language, is not just sexy, it's spiritual. It's an act of co-creation. And in that act, you're not just making love, you're making a man who is confident not because he dominates, but because he listens. A man who feels powerful, not because he controls you, but because he moves you. And all because you had the courage to say, I love when you, with no filter, no fear, and full fire.